Good morning or good afternoon, maybe for some of you. We are going to start our math lesson 121, and today we're going to learn how to make and label an array. So, have you ever seen a band march in a parade? What did you notice? Right, when people march in parades, they march in rows. We call this an array. The boxes on the calendar make an array. They have 7 rows of 7 days. Today we're going to use color tiles to make an array. So let's make a row of 4 tiles. And when you're doing this, use different colors. That's why I made all these colors. So let's put a row of 4 color tiles. Okay. Now we're going to make another row, and I'm going to make it above the first row, even though usually you would put it below, right? Okay, so now I can see that I have a row of, I have 2 groups of 4 color tiles. So it's called a 2 by 4 array. How many tiles are there all together? Right, 8. Good. Now let's make one more row of 4 color tiles. And again, try to put different colors so that you can tell they're different rows. So now we have 3 groups of 4. So now we have a 3 by 4 array. Okay, so we're going to write that on the board. 3 by 4 array. It's kind of like I'm doing multiplying, isn't it? Yes. So now we're going to make a different kind of array. Let's make a row of 2 tiles now. 1, 2. Now let's put 2 more below that row. 1, 2. Now let's do one more row of 2. And one more row of 2. So what do I have now? 4 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 groups of 2. So now this one will be called a 4 by 2 array. 4 by 2 array. And remember, when you do this job, there will not be any text boxes here. So you will have to add all of this just like I'm doing, okay? Now, what if I add another row? So I'm going to move it down. What if I add another row? Now what do I have? Right, I have a 5 by 2 array. So I will change it. 5 rows of 2 tiles, a 5 by 2 array. Good. So the first number means how many rows, and the second number means how many tiles are in each row. So what do I have inside? 10. 10. Good. So I am actually going to write 10 on top of this array, like that. And I am going to write 12 on top of this array. Then I'll go back to my board. Now we're going to make a 2 by 3 array. So that means I want to have 2 rows of 3. So I will make 1 row of 3, and then I will make another row of 3. And now what do I have? Let's type it in. I have a 2 by 3 array. And how many is that? 2 rows of 3. I have 6 tiles. Great. All right, so now we're going to get out our lesson worksheet. Okay, so on our lesson worksheet, let's draw a picture of our 2 by 3 array that we just made here. Please draw that on your lesson worksheet. All right, so start in your top right hand corner and make your 2 by 3, 2 rows of 3. Color in your array. And then we are going to label it. So I'm going to draw a picture like we see. So on our paper, we have a 4 by 3 array. So we're going to draw it out like this. So let's move our tiles into place. Hold on, let me see if I can move this line. No, I cannot. Okay, let me just try this. Sorry. Since I already made this, I'm just going to make that line come around my tray here. So, oh, yeah, I don't want that, do I? Sorry, guys. I forget about how this looks. Okay, there we have it. So, on our paper, it says A right here by that box, okay? So you have your 2 by 3 array, and now we're going to label this array. So we put 6 in the middle, and now on the side, we're going to write 2 by 3 up on top, like that, okay? So draw that on your paper and label it. And honestly, kids, if you want to draw this on just show me it on your add response. You do not have to draw it out. You can just do it in the add response and submit it. Okay, and now we're going to see that we have our B, and the B is the same, right? It's a 3 by 4. So I'm just going to draw that here so you can see it, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and add 4. I'm sorry, hold on a moment. Okay, so next to the letter B, we're going to make a 4 by 2 array. Okay, so we want four. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not what I needed. I have to change it. So I am going to have 4 rows of 2. So let's write that before we begin. 4 rows. Let me use a different color. 4 rows of 2. And now let's move our tiles into place. So I need 1 row of 2, 2 rows of 2, 3 rows of 2, and 4 rows of 2. So now I have my 4 by 2 array. And in the middle of that, how many tiles are there all together? Right. Let's go ahead and add these typed words like we did last time. I am going to duplicate so I can put these beside both of my images here. In this one, I had a 2 by 3 array. And this one, I had a 4 by 2. Whoops, did not type for me. Emily, please come back and do your job. And what would I write in the center? Right, I would write 8 because there are 8 total. All right, good. Now we have one last array, and this is a larger array, and it is a 3. We're going to make it so this is a larger array. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take away these first 2 that I made. To make my C. So I am going to just move all of my tiles. Well, let's keep them here. I'm going to rearrange my array. So what I'm going to do is delete that, and it is telling me to make a 3 by 5 array. Okay, so I am going to put these back. I made my 3 by 5 array. And if you did your work where you have space, you can draw this, but it's a bigger spot. So this array, this image had 4 rows and it had 7. So this is how that square looked. That was by the letter C. Okay. So now I would write a 3 rows of 5 squares. So then I would move this over. I would also change my typing to a 3 by 5 array. And how many tiles? What's 3 times 5? 5, 10, 15. All right, so now I will write 15. Ooh, sorry. Now I will write 15 in the middle. Okay, so this is the picture that you should submit to me. You have to have A, B, and C. If you had enough space to draw C without moving it like I did, you can have those first two that we made, and then you can have A and B and C. But if you didn't have room like I did, then that's okay for you to change it and move it as I did. Okay?